your head, man. Why does this community have such a fucking hard time with grasping watching a video? God fucking damn it.
And still there were no calls, emails, or answered texts. Her sister was the first one to realize something was terribly wrong.
How does the video suck, Nick?
She reached out to Lauren's friends at Mercer and began to piece together that not only had no one heard from her, but they also hadn't seen her in days.
I said maybe.
What is especially chilling is that according to her calendar, Lauren was due to move out from her apartment the next day, on June 30th.
I'm done with Bagel.
Her car was still parked in her...
Bagel, you are the fuck out of here. Just type your last message you ever want to be seen in here, man. We are not doing this shit tonight. Bagel, literally just type anything. Nothing you say or do is going to matter. I'm banning you in 5 seconds. Just get your last words out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Remove from the broadcast. All right, shit vibes, toxic vibes forever. Fuck you.
Parking space, and after Lauren's friends heard from her sister, they decided to look for her and search her apartment.
Pitbully 7OP, thanks for following.
They knew she kept in a white glass vase on a table outside her door. Checking her computer, they uncovered an email she sent revealing that she thought someone had tried to break into her apartment on the Thursday night before she vanished.
Fuck Bagel.
Eerily, her ID and keys, including the other apartment key, were all inside, as though Lauren had come home and locked the door behind her, and then vanished. Lauren's family didn't live nearby, so her father drove that night to Macon to speak to police, and a missing persons report was officially filed for Lauren 4 days after she was last heard from. There were no witnesses. It was just a matter of interviewing anybody who lived at that apartment complex, or anyone who knew Lauren, with the hope of finding someone who knew what could have happened to her. Little did the police know, the case would have its prime suspect in only 12 hours of investigating. One of her friends, Ashley Morehouse, gave an emotional account to an officer about the last time she saw Lauren.
When was the last time you've actually physically seen Lauren?
It would be early Saturday morning at about 4 a.m. That Friday night, we went out to the bar, and she came back to my boyfriend's place to stay for the evening.
Did you see Lauren when you woke up that morning?
No.
You're just assuming she was there?
Yes.
Did you ever see her or talk to her again?
No.
Ashley was one of the first people who alerted the authorities to Lauren's disappearance. Lauren's next-door neighbor and law school classmate, 25-year-old Stephen McDaniel, also spoke briefly with an officer.
How long have you lived next to Lauren?
Bojo, thanks for following, man.
Since I started law school back in, it'd be August of 08, I think.
When was the last time you think you seen Lauren?
It was either last week or the week before that.
Okay. Is there anything that you could tell me today or add to your statement that could help me locate Lauren?
Hate me? Don't hate me.
I can't think of anything.
Stephen, along with Lauren's other neighbors and friends, were then asked to go to the police station to give their statements.
Bro, this is a wild video.
Years, Stephen was the perfect person to ask if he had heard or seen anything that may be helpful to the case.
I just want to clarify.
What's up? Hi,
I asked you to come down here today because you're Lauren's next door neighbor, right?
Yeah.
And you told me in your statement that you've been home all week, right? All weekend. Has anybody come and visit you while you were home?
No.
You didn't have no friends over?
Mm-mm.
Anybody see you this weekend that you've been home?
I don't know.
I had asked you in your statement because I've asked everyone that's living
right,
in
guess
that lives in
Hypoxic's
that
out.
apartment complex if it would be all right for us to search their apartment. Give me consent to search.
I'm just wondering how Hypoxic or anyone else in here, I'm saying, how do we fuck up watching a video, though? I'm just rhetorically just pondering that in my head. Where is it happening at? You know what I'm saying? Is it like, whoa, I want to get retarded because I'm fucking retarded. God fucking damn.
I'm asking that I would be there and that no one's going to search your apartment without you being present, right? Mm-hmm. And in your statement, you stated that you didn't want me to do that?
I've got several firearms that I own.
It isn't terribly surprising to hear that a law student would refuse to consent to search. However, what is unusual is that Stephen would continue to consent to police interviews without legal representation.
And
I need to take a dab tolerance again.
I don't want other people.
I'm done taking dabs for a while again. This shit's pointless.
I've got a semi-automatic rifle, and I've got 2 handguns.
Just don't get high.
Do you understand that we're trying to locate Lauren? She's missing. And you stated that you're willing to do anything to help me.
If I can help, I will, but...
By helping me, I've asked everyone there, and everyone in the apartment complex has agreed, except you.
Shut up.
It's the lawyer in me, I suppose.
The lawyer in me is why I don't want to let you search my house.
What can I say?
I just needed to know the reasoning behind you not doing it. You just
don't get
worried that I'm going to mess with your firearms if you're standing there?
Nah,
What's up, Zach? I am, dude.
Just protective of my space.
Did you hurt your nose or something?
Where?
The red mark on your nose right there. How'd you get that red mark on your nose?
Is it a mirror?
How'd you get this mark down here on your chin?
Place I've been picking at.
So you don't want me looking in your apartment at all?
After some convincing, the officer eventually inspected Stephen's apartment, looking for any sign of Lauren. Although they didn't find her, they began to notice Stephen's behavior was growing increasingly odd. Police reported that he was sweating profusely and rapidly drank multiple bottles of water. When someone encounters a threat and they go into fight or flight mode, they may experience a dry mouth as well as an increase in sweating. In fight or flight, the body shifts fluids from one part of the body, like the mouth, to other parts of the body, such as sweat glands. The police continued to comb through the neighboring apartments, and Stephen hung around the entire time. This was fairly unusual, as there were only a few reasons why Stephen would stay near the apartments all day. Maybe
just trying to look obvious.
Had nothing else to do, but maybe he had.
Yeah, I want to hang out with some homicide detectives today. Let's go.
If the police uncovered anything incriminating. In some cases, the perpetrator remains close to the investigation process due to an obsession, either with the victim or with
like
the
that,
crime
Carmel
itself. They may at times enjoy the attention the case is receiving.
Hello? Like what?
Released yet, so he couldn't stay there.
Shut up,
but
Spitwall.
Also that he couldn't leave the area.
Spitwall, call your dad a sperm Tarzan right now.
Out contradictions. Either way, it was during this time that he was approached by a reporter who asked him about Lauren. Allegedly, Stephen also commented to other reporters in the area that he wished he'd given Lauren one of his guns so that she could have potentially protected herself.
Yeah, Lauren was my neighbor. We're just trying to find out where she is at this point. I mean, no one has seen her since Saturday. I mean, the last time anyone heard from her was an email that she sent out, and no one's heard from her since.
What kind of person was she? I mean, what did you see?
I mean, she's as nice as can be. I mean, very personable, very much a people person.
Do you know any enemies she might have had, somebody that might want to hurt her?
No, we don't know where she is. I mean, the only thing we can think is that maybe she went out running and someone snatched her.
It's notable that Stephen speaks mostly using we as the pronoun instead of I. This can be a red flag that the person talking doesn't want the focus to be on them. He may not want to single himself out in any way or draw attention to himself, so it feels safer to keep himself lumped in with the group.
Because we went over. One of our friends had a key. We went inside and tried to see if there was anything amiss.
What an idiot.
She had a door jamb that was sitting right by it, so there was no sign that anyone broke in.
What about in the parking lot area? I know they've been doing a lot of. I think that's where they have recovered the body or whatever they recovered from there.
Body.
This is the exact moment, caught on camera, that Stephen learns Lauren's body has been found, or rather, part of it. Note that Stephen repeats the word body, perhaps trying to buy himself more time to think. However, an alternative theory is that he was trying to behave how he thought someone would react when they found out their missing friend's body had been found. His reaction could potentially be seen as shock, as a friend learns that the person they've been searching for is actually dead. Or, more accurately, it's the very moment a killer finds out that the body they thought they'd cleverly disposed of is found. Far quicker than he expected, a carefully laid plan is already beginning to unravel, and he's just realized that very thing while on camera. Earlier, as police were searching for any sign of Lauren, they noticed a horrible smell coming from the garbage bins behind Barrister's Hall at Mercer University, across from the apartment complex.
Why
where
would
she
you not
lived.
just drive an hour
Around
away or something?
9:40 a.m.,
Like
they
10
made
minutes
the
away.
nightmarish discovery of a human torso, discarded along with the trash. In a strange twist of fate, the grim finding was a moment of pure luck. The garbage bin should have been picked up and emptied earlier that day before investigators ever would have found the remains.
Now you gotta sit in prison
However,
every
that
day and think about
the
that.
garbage truck was running late. No matter what Stephen may have been thinking while talking to the reporter, the police had already noticed him hanging around and brought him back to the station to answer a few more questions. In this second interview, things take an interesting turn immediately, and Stephen's reaction to the detective is far less confident. Now that suspicion has fallen so thoroughly onto him, Stephen will use his knowledge as a law student to try and wiggle his way out of giving the police any more information. And the result is unsettling, to say the least.
You know Detective Patterson, right?
Yes.
Do you remember? Put your hands up here. You remember us talking earlier tonight?
Nate, bring it back.
Right.
When done.
You remember me earlier in the day?
Yes.
When we came down here and talked a little bit and then we left?
Yes.
Okay. I need to know about this girl right here. You know her?
Yes.
Who is that?
Lauren Giddings.
Does she live next door to you?
Yes.
When's the last time you seen her?
2 or 3 weeks ago.
Okay. Was you friends with Lauren?
Yes.
Look at me when you talk to me, son. Okay? Was you friends with her?
Yes.
Close friends?
We were good.
I mean,
No
y'all were
emotion,
friends, right?
so
Both
guilty.
y'all are law students. You're studying to be an attorney, right?
Yes.
What kind of law do you want to go into? Criminal law?
Yes.
Civil? Is that what you want to do for a living?
Yes.
Okay.
You'll notice that there's been a distinct shift in Stephen's behavior. During the first interview, when he refused the search of his apartment, Stephen gave a lengthy explanation and talked openly with the detective about the types of firearms he owned. He used frequent hand gestures and appeared to believe he could just talk his way out of the search. The detectives would have noted his behavior during that first interview, when there was less pressure on him as his baseline, essentially how he acts when he is telling the truth. When someone's behavior changes significantly during an interrogation, detectives will see this as a red flag for possible deception. It doesn't always mean that the suspect is guilty of the crime, but there is a reason for this shift in behavior, and detectives will try to figure out what it is. If Stephen was consistent in only giving one-word answers and used a monotone voice across both interviews, his odd behavior could have been written off as normal for him. It could have been just part of his personality or how he speaks. However, the significant deviation from his baseline behavior is a red flag. Something, possibly fear of being caught, has triggered him to act completely differently from how he was earlier.
Are you almost finished?
Yes.
Okay. So you don't have too much more to do, right?
No.
All right. Are you going to stay here in Macon?
There you go.
I don't know.
What up,
Did
Large?
you used to work at the district attorney's office in Macon?
Yes.
Was you on the prosecutor side or the defense side?
Prosecutor.
So you were on our side.
Yes.
Stephen had worked in the DA's office before graduating from law school just 1 month earlier.
A law
at the same
school
time
graduate
as
did
Lauren.
this.
At this point, he's not yet taken the bar exam. Stephen may be deliberately answering with one-word answers because it's safer, and he wants to avoid giving unnecessary or possibly incriminating information that could be used against him later. However, part of the reason for his short responses could be due to the type of questions he's being asked. The detective is using closed-ended questions, which often limits what the other person can say. The detective may have been able to get Stephen to talk more if he'd asked open-ended questions, such as, what was your relationship like with Lauren? What did you and Lauren like to do together? What was your last interaction with her
Rat,
like?
pick a number.
With these types of questions, it's difficult for a suspect to just say yes or no. While close-ended questions can be helpful when police are trying to find out specific facts, open-ended questions are better when trying to gather information, such as here.
And you lived next to Lauren for a long time?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know where she's at tonight?
No. No.
Have you ever seen her with that dress
What's up,
on?
Frodo?
No.
What is most interesting is the question of why is he still talking with investigators at this point?
Yeah, large.
Clearly, he understands how to invoke his right to remain silent, and yet he doesn't.
You have no idea where she's at?
No.
What up, Cody?
The detective emphasizes
What's up,
these
Sam? Love you
questions
too,
by
bro.
invading Stephen's
What's up,
personal
baby?
space
What up, Joey Rod
and
21?
raising the picture of Lauren. This is an attempt to elicit empathy from Stephen, as it's hard to look into the face of someone if you've hurt them. At first,
I'm down
the
3
detective may have
pounds,
been
guys. Can you
attempting to
see it in
build
my face?
rapport by sitting close and acting a bit buddy-buddy with him, such as
it's
patting
fucking
Stephen
hard
on the
losing
shoulder. But this evolves into not allowing him to physically escape from his
Get it
direct
poppin'?
scrutiny. Still, Stephen doesn't
I'm
shrink
watching
away.
this to get it poppin',
Most
dude.
people would be quite uncomfortable with someone unfamiliar that close. However, it's important to remember when interpreting any of his
997
behavior or
Esports. Thanks for
actions
the follow,
that
dude.
Stephen is likely familiar with
What up,
typical
Zach
police
Lane 21?
techniques.
How you doing, Zach Lane? What's up, baby?
What do you think happened to her?
Nice to meet you, man.
Do you even care that no one can find her?
Yes.
I mean, I don't know, do you?
Yes.
He may believe that police have no real evidence tying him to Lauren's disappearance, so as long as he appears at least somewhat cooperative, he will be in the clear.
What's up, keepers?
However, when a suspect only provides one-word answers, detectives usually see this as the person being guarded, which is a red flag for deception. Stephen's answer here is a stark contrast to earlier in the day, only
I quit
about
cigs.
6 hours before.
Hey, I'm not smoking the whole pack. I'm only smoking 10. And we have a Fiverr trolling life coach tonight. We're getting the dude from North Memphis who used to be an ex-pimp. He's the only guy we can get tonight. He has no idea. It's going to be lit. And that's what we're doing. And then I have a relationship coach. This chick. Yeah.
When he told the reporter that he thought Lauren could have been snatched.
The only thing we can think is that maybe she went out running and someone snatched her.
Notice that when the officer is talking to him,
Psychic,
Stephen
yeah, we
maintains
are.
that intense eye contact he had with the reporter, checking to see if he's being believed. Though it's clear suspicion has fallen
Dude,
heavily
Saller,
on
it's so
Stephen,
funny, man.
he isn't the only person police interviewed.
Like, you guys don't understand. You guys know how I can normally keep it together. When I'm doing these, I have to drink a little bit. I have to be a little higher, or I just crack. I just start dying laughing. I can't keep my face straight. I can't hold it in. It's too hard, bro.
They also spoke to David Van Diver, Lauren's boyfriend.
Do an ashtray demo?
This is your girl.
Guys, buy an ashtray now.
Okay. Because
Understandable?
we can't find
I just can't. What
Okay.
time? 11
we
Eastern.
found a body. We don't know if it's her or not.
I just heard that. This
Okay.
coworker told me on the way down.
All right. So I need your help.
You've got it.
Well, somebody knows something. Now I'm asking
We
you,
good? No, the fuck
do
we
you
ain't.
know anybody that she might been seeing besides you?
This is commonly called the wedge driving. It's similar to the prisoner's dilemma, but is used to elicit an emotional response.
They take a little while to
suspect in
get their
relation to a
HMU.
victim. The couple appeared to have a long-distance relationship, one that was occasionally on and off. The detective quickly narrows in on this fact, suggesting that the two had problems in their relationship. Notice the difference in David's body language compared to Stephen's. David is leaned forward, and his body is frontally aligned with the detective, meaning his torso
No,
and
I
legs
don't,
are pointing
Joe.
toward the officer. He looks engaged in the conversation,
That's a
Detectives trained
2023
under the
fine.
technique view this posture as being more in line with a truthful individual rather than a deceptive one. Compare that to
Aaron,
Stephen's
put the
rigid
dummies
posture
behind
facing
you when you
forward
do the
toward the
life
table
coach
and
meeting.
away from
Well,
the detective.
Arcash, you could use
which,
it for an
according to the
investment into the
Reed technique,
stream.
Can be a red flag for
So I
deception.
can get cooler shit you might use.
It's important to
Let me
note that
know
a
if I can
suspect's
help
posture
out
alone
anyway.
cannot
You
be
know
used to
how to
make a
reach me.
determination
Love
about
you,
whether
Gig.
someone is lying
Much
or
love,
telling
Sam.
the truth.
Appreciate you, bro.
However, it's something detectives will take note of and may help guide them with their questioning.
So you're telling me the whole time you were going to California,
Thanks
you
for the
didn't
bits,
call
Tortoise.
her, check in with
What's up,
her,
dude?
nothing.
No.
Then you landed in
I
Atlanta.
can't wait.
And just go back to your apartment or house, wherever you live in Atlanta.
What's up,
You
big
didn't
over
call her
pot?
and tell her you were home or anything?
No, if you look at the email she sent me Saturday night, and this has been, you're talking about me not being married and all this stuff, when girls start to talk about commitment stuff, the email she sent me at 10:13 Saturday night started off, I literally read it while I was in the rental car, and I saw the first line. It goes, I just had an
Same, Trails.
is it uncomfortable or awkward conversation with Garen, and I thought it was going to lead
Something with
into
pain.
a whole, he wants to know when y'all are getting married, stuff like that. So I just put it down. That I'm just like, I'm not ready for that, and I put the phone down.
Do you
I
have
know,
a key to
D-car
her
stuff.
apartment?
No, sir. No, sir.
I mean,
In
if you're
fact,
truly innocent, go for it.
Does she?
there was a running joke, if you will.
I mean, honestly, if I'm truly innocent of a murder charge and I have nothing to do with it, and I'm even being talked to about a murder charge, I'm still asking for a lawyer. I'm not. I mean, but I'm a seasoned justice system dude who's read law transcripts. So I mean, I'm not talking to a police about a case this serious. Period. Under any circumstance, I'll be like, all right, yeah, that's great. Go contact my lawyer. I don't know what the fuck is going on. That's cool.
I came down here, I think it was summer of 2010, give or take. There was some band thing. She wanted me to
Freestyle,
come
I can
down
do
for
it, yeah.
Came down, we all went out, had a great time. We got separated walking back, and she got back to her apartment before I did, and I banged on the door, and she was asleep. And and the joke was, apparently I was the only one of her friends that did not know where that key was. I know where it is now.
Citrus, baby.
Where's the key?
Citrus,
She
hey.
keeps the key right there on the, it's a round table, if I recall, you know, patio furniture. It's like a little ceramic thing.
Vending
You
machine.
don't know anybody that might want to harm her.
No, sir.
Are you worried about
Yeah.
that being her?
Where's
Absolutely.
Aiden? Yeah.
Absolutely.
David
knows.
rubs his head, likely a sign of
Citrus,
stress.
I
which
can't
is
wait, dude. I wish you were
understandable given
older
the
so you'd go to
situation.
bars with us, bro. I
In
can't
addition to
wait.
being concerned about his girlfriend, he may also be worried that police are suspicious of him. He may know that in most cases where a woman disappears or is killed, the
He'll be
partner is
over-
looked at first. Even if someone is innocent and logically knows that the truth is on their side,
Right.
it doesn't mean they
won't
won't
be
be
concerned.
concerned about being wrongfully accused.
Right, exactly.
Eventually, David
Thank you,
Van
Nate.
Diver is cleared of any suspicion and allowed to leave the police station. Stephen, on the other hand,
Right,
has
exactly.
only managed to make himself appear more
Thanks, Nate.
suspicious.
Love you, buddy.
The detective now
Welcome
reveals
back,
some of the
Citrus.
reasons that they're focusing their attention on him.
You said you didn't have any other cars.
How are you going to
right?
be a law student and commit this shit ass crime?
Why would everybody you went to school with for the last
What up,
3 or 4
Master?
years
You
said
lick dicks.
that you own another car other than that Geo Prism?
Steel prod. Go on your main. Type on your main in here.
All your
Or I don't
friends
know,
you went to
man.
school with.
Message them out. I'll
People that
invent
you
you.
worked at the district attorney's office with said you have other cars other than that car. And you're going to sit here today and tell me you don't have another car?
I don't.
Well, where's it at?
I don't have one.
You never had another car besides that Geo Prism.
No.
So if I call your granddaddy, he's going to tell me.
Yo, Craig, thank you for the 6
that you
months,
only
dude. I
have one
appreciate
car.
you.
Yes.
What's his phone number?
I don't know.
Yeah, you do, because I already have his number.
What did he do? Chopped
know
up this
phone
girl
number?
into pieces and threw her in a trash can?
I mean, you seriously can't help it out.
His number's in my cell phone.
That's the start. Where's your
Yo,
cell
pretty
phone?
vegan. Thank you for the 18 months,
Your
brother.
apartment?
One of the reasons the detectives are pressing Stephen about having another car is the security footage caught outside the apartment building where he and Lauren lived. It's blurry, so it's unclear exactly who is in the footage. But the detectives clearly suspect that it might be Lauren's killer.
What's up with the pair of underwear that was in your apartment? That was like a mask. It was cut out like a mask, dude. You cut underwear out that look like mask?
No.
Two bitten pot. Thanks
What
to
do you
follow.
think happened to her?
I think someone took her.
I think someone
Now, when
took her.
confronted, Stephen gives the same answer he told the reporter earlier. But his voice has shifted dramatically into a flat tone.
Why did he think he
devoid
was
of all
capable of getting
emotion.
away with this? Like,
Well, you know
how?
there was a body found in the trash can next to the apartments.
It kind of is citrus in a way.
And it's a female, white female's body. Right there. Right next to y'all's apartment. Feet within from her apartment. We don't know 100% sure it's Lauren. But we're pretty confident it is. I mean, who would do something to somebody and throw them in a trash can?
I don't know.
I'm asking for your advice or your
All right, what the freak?
observation.
How about we ban
Who in
you?
your complex
What the freak? Call your dad a
would do something
sperm
like that?
Satan
You
right
lived
now.
over there for 3 years.
Call your dad a
the first
sperm
thing I've
room
ever
cloth from World of
By asking
Warcraft.
the suspect to speculate as to the narrative of the crime, the investigator is looking for any facts, especially inconsistent or unpublicized facts, that might create an opening for more direct lines of questioning.
Sperm
In your
warlock.
expert opinion, of all your knowledge of going through law school
Yeah,
and
it is,
all
Edo.
that, who in that complex do I need to talk to?
I don't know.
This type of question is commonly taught in the Reed technique. The detective likely knows that typically people who commit horrific murders have antisocial personality disorder. Individuals with this personality disorder are typically very grandiose, which means that they love to be admired and praised by others for having what they believe
What
are
up, J6?
superior qualities. Being called an expert by the detective would certainly play on a perpetrator's grandiose beliefs about themselves and make it more likely that they will respond. However,
What?
it doesn't work with Stephen. Also, an important note to keep in mind is that if Stephen suffered from severe and untreated mental illness, it's unlikely that as a law student he would make it through the years of intensive coursework and field training, which he has. Throughout the interrogation so far, he's barely moved. This
POV.
stands out against the norm in the interrogation room. People don't sit completely still. They shift, move their hands when they talk, and cross their legs. He may be trying to not give them anything to use against him, but in the process,
Looks guilty.
he's looking more suspicious.
Now, why are you acting like this? I need to know. Why all of a sudden you're acting like this?
Some of the chat is taking notes, getting ready for a shit retard life of crime.
Right. Earlier today, we sat here and talked. But now you're acting like you don't know what's going on. I mean, did something happen or something to you?
Dude, it is
Why are you
fucking
not-
cold in
Why
this
are you
house.
shutting down? Why are you not talking to me?
I don't know.
You don't know? Are you scared?
No.
I mean, you're not scared, are you?
No.
Since Stephen's shift in behavior has been so abrupt, the police
dude is an
decide to speak
NPC
to one
for
of his
real,
friends,
man.
David Whitmire, to get a better understanding of who Stephen is. David lived across the street from the apartment complex where Lauren and Stephen lived, and also attended the same classes, so he knows them both.
Did you know this Lauren's next door neighbor, Stephen
Very
McDaniel?
well. Very well.
Notice again how David
Very
Whitmire's
well.
body is
Very
angled
well.
toward the detective, just like Lauren's boyfriend, David Van Diver, was, which is noticeably different than how Stephen has been sitting.
You know, Stephen could stay in there a long time and not come back out. And so I would like...
Just stay in his house, his apartment for days?
Yeah. And I would say, you know, and I don't know.
This is why I don't
probably
like
not
living in an
company or
apartment.
something, but
Motherfuckers know
Stephen
too
and
much.
you know, and I also didn't always want to eat alone, so I'd say, let's go down to Five Guys.
All this information does is tell investigators that Stephen was likely a loner and possibly a recluse. This is important information for detectives because oftentimes individuals who commit these horrific murders are socially isolated. It also means that he was probably home at the time that Lauren was attacked. According to her friends, because Stephen was a bit of an outsider, Lauren went out of her way
I don't
to
know why I'm just sharing this now, you guys, but the permit, I tweeted it out, or I typed in Discord. I don't know why I'm just saying this now, but my dad just got the final permit from the city of Chicago. So we finally got it. We're done. We're done with all the permit shit, dude. Praise Allah. All right.
Be nice to him, even though she apparently found him a bit strange. Since none of his tactics are working
What
so
permit?
far,
Continue
the
to
detective
finish the
tries something
basement?
new, attempting to be more aggressive in the hopes this will get Stephen to say something besides "I don't know." He brings up Lauren's mother and
When is the
asks what
basement
he should
done?
tell her
It'll be
about her
probably
daughter's
April 1st, man.
disappearance.
And you want me to sit there and tell him that you don't know?
April 1st.
Is that what you want me to tell him? Because you're all over the news. You sure stood out there and ran your mouth to the news media. But now you're going to get out here and you don't know. You know. You're just a sorry piece of
By shifting to a more aggressive stance, it's apparent that the Reed method is not working. This also signifies that the investigator has lost control of the interrogation. The detective is likely taking his frustrations about the case out on Stephen, rather than stopping to think about what would be the best approach to get him to talk. He may be trying to rile Stephen up and make him upset enough to admit something in anger. However, name-calling is never a good tactic to get a suspect
We're getting
to
hot
open
water
up.
sooner than that,
This is
though.
an example of how sometimes individual law enforcement officers may stray away from standard interrogation protocols, such as the Reed technique. In fact, the Reed technique teaches that the interviewer should remain a neutral and objective fact finder, which clearly isn't the case here. The desperation on the part of the detective could also backfire, because it may show Stephen that his act is working, and the investigators are getting desperate. For half an hour, the first detective struggles to get any response from Stephen, so another officer enters the room to change up the dynamic.
Why would you not be honest with me?
I am being honest.
Stephen, it just doesn't feel like it, buddy. You know, I get the sense that there's something weighing heavy on your heart right now, and it's breaking you down, and you feel bad about it. I can tell you haven't slept much, have you, in the last few days, have you?
No.
Like something's weighing on your mind, ain't it?
We were looking for Lauren.
Come over, son.
You started looking for Lauren yesterday,
Yes.
but you haven't slept in several days, have you?
Yes.
You have?
Yes.
Earlier when I talked to you, you said you hadn't slept in days, that this morning was the first time you was able to get any sleep, was this morning, for a little bit.
No.
Yes, that's what you said. That's what you told me. So I asked you, well, if you haven't been able to sleep in several days, what have you been doing, studying? And you said, yeah, studying. You don't remember that?
No.
By pointing out Stephen's inconsistent
Yeah,
statements,
son,
the detective is trying to shake his confidence and make him doubt himself. If Stephen feels
All
like
right,
he's making
dude,
a
let's
lot
go
of
risk my
mistakes,
life on a bunch
it
of
will
Xanax
likely
bars.
increase his stress, which in turn could cause him to make more mistakes.
What I want you to do, and I'm going to ask you this question. I want you to describe to me how you feel right now. You don't know how to answer that with a yes or no, do you?
I don't know what's going on.
The investigator is once again trying to build rapport through empathy, marking a return to classic
Take 10.
interrogation techniques. As well,
That
the
dog
switch to
shit on my
open-ended
screen.
questions suggests that this investigator is perhaps more experienced or more effective than the other.
Lauren's missing. This pretty little girl right here, your neighbor, she's missing.
I know.
I can't wait to troll this dude tonight, man. It's gonna be lit.
Yes.
It's honestly not even trolling,
Did you hurt
though.
Lauren?
The ironic part is, like, the conversation gets kind of
Did you hurt
serious.
Lauren?
When is the last time
It's really
you've
not
seen
trolling.
Lauren alive?
I can't recall.
I mean, if that's Lauren's, we haven't positively identified it.
But like, is it graduation? Because, you know, at once.
Give Leland an hour. Now.
Once it
Step.
was
Get Leland out of
all
here for an
over
hour.
with, you know,
He's
we
way
did
too
like
cozy.
That was in May
That was May
2011.
14.
Sup,
So you
Tarzan?
hadn't seen her like around the apartment complex, coming and going, or anything like that?
No, but I would, from time to time, I would ask, you know, I'd notice her car was either gone or in a different parking place.
This is an example of how deception indicators should not be relied on by themselves and should only be interpreted in the context of the
from the
situation.
broadcast.
David answers, I can't recall. This could be considered
Sup,
a selective
Carissa?
memory
No, this is a
statement,
good video.
which can be a tell for deception. However, when you look closer at the situation, you see that David had a legitimate reason for not knowing when he last saw her. They were not close friends and didn't really keep in touch after graduation. It's only a red flag for deception if the person being questioned doesn't have a reasonable explanation not to remember.
Actually, I kept up with them a lot because I had to always walk from
What's up, mid?
I had to look at everybody's car and everybody's apartment as I walked to class. So I kept up too. But I would ask him, what's Lauren doing? And, generally it were nondescript responses about, well, I think she went out of town, or I think this.
Did Stephen ever tell you, what his relationship was with Lauren? He never said that, referred to her as his girlfriend or anything. He just, that's his neighbor and a classmate? Or?
Yeah, that was it. I didn't presume anything, and
adventurers
had a long-term, steady boyfriend.
You have another vehicle.
No, I don't.
So your grandfather's a liar. Is that what you're saying? You're calling your grandfather a liar. I just talked to him, and he said you own another car.
Damn.
Steven, we're telling way too many lies in here.
So you're telling me they're lying?
You're willing to tell me that you're a virgin and that you told me you jack off to porn on the internet, but you don't want to admit to having another car. That makes me think you got something to hide, Steven. That concerns me. You tell me things that most people wouldn't tell somebody else, but yet you lie about something simple.
Why are you trying to hide that you have another car? What's the
up, Cody G?
I don't have.
I got 3 cars.
You do.
No, I don't.
It's not at your house.
What happened to it?
I've never had another car.
That's the only car you ever had in Macon?
Yes.
Okay, let me go talk to him again, because that's not what he's saying.
The footage would turn out not to be the linchpin needed to solve this case, as it doesn't actually capture any evidence used to narrow down Lauren's killer. Instead, it's the killer's own oversights which will catch them up in the end.
Steven, what happened to Lauren?
I don't know.
You like her, don't you?
She's my friend.
Did you ever think about having sex with her?
No.
You never tried to talk to her on a dating level?
No.
Let me go talk. They got his grandfather. Let me go talk, make sure that he owns another car, because he's telling us he doesn't. Be right back.
So you telling me, see that pretty girl right there?
Yes.
You telling me you looked at a pretty girl
I'm
right there?
horny as fuck right now with the sub gift.
Ever?
Thank you, man.
Man.
What up, Mason? It's going good, dude.
She looks
What up,
good.
Joe?
You never thought that?
I don't understand.
Do you talk to Stephen? Email to email?
Little brief emails.
Is there anything on there discussing about Lauren?
No. There was only time he ever mentioned Lauren that other than like this, like, have you seen Lauren lately? Well, I would ask him that sometimes. There was this one experience where Lauren's name came up, and he said, boy, you should have been there. He said, Lauren really put on a show. And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, she was so drunk. And then he described how she had been out there dancing with some other girl and had fallen, and apparently was not wearing any underwear, or very skimpy underwear like they wear nowadays, and apparently flashed most of the room purely accidentally.
Gigi, thank you for the 2 months, Gigi.
And he
Much
that's the
love.
only thing I've ever
thank
heard
you.
related to Lauren.
The officers appear to have found a potential motive for Stephen to want to hurt Lauren. The speculation that perhaps he had a romantic interest in her wasn't completely misplaced.
What's up, TTV Daddy?
A friend of Lauren's would later come forward to share that Stephen had asked her out on a date, and Lauren turned him down. This friend also said that he didn't think Stephen had a single bad bone in his body, and was always helpful and kind, even helping one night to make sure when Lauren came home from the bar intoxicated, that she got into her apartment okay. However, this friend eventually admitted that Stephen continually asked her out on dates, and even allegedly weirded her out with his attention. Though he doesn't give much away during the interview, Posts that Stephen made online reveal he actually thought about dating and relationships a lot. The posts were confirmed to be penned by Stephen because although he uses the nickname SOL, or Son of Liberty, to make the online comments on a few different forums, SOL wrote that they were a law student in Macon. If that wasn't enough evidence, Stephen was also known to send politically charged emails to his entire university,
I thought I was shit out of luck when
which
I first
he
heard
signed
it.
with his name and the moniker Son of Liberty. In one post, Stephen answered another user's comment with, "Ha, you won't find any pictures like that in my home because I don't have a girlfriend. I just made myself sad." Later, in a post from February 2010, he wrote, "The problem with being a social recluse with a fundamental disability to connect on a romantic level is that we want so much to find that one special person with whom we want to grow old with, raise children with, spend the rest of our lives with, and yet we're incapable of going out and finding her." As it reaches midnight, the detective's frustration begins to show. But even though his answers don't change, the cracks are beginning to show in Stephen's robotic answers.
You knew that there was blood in that apartment.
No.
Yes, you did, Stephen. Yes, you did. There's blood in your apartment.
Why would you bring the body in your apartment? Why? Literally, why?
That's right.
Like what?
There's blood in your apartment. Stephen, this is hard, buddy. I know this is hard. And I can tell it's on you want to let it go. There's blood in your apartment, Stephen. You didn't get it all up. It didn't all come off.
Well, Citrus, I
You
watch
scrubbed
videos.
and you wiped. But we can tell that. Don't you watch CSI? Yeah, we know it.
The blood the police claimed they found was in Stephen's bathroom. It's hard to know for sure at this point if they actually have discovered this evidence, given how early it is in the investigation. But since police can lie during interrogations, this could be just another tactic to try and get Stephen to confess something.
Is there a chance? But you do admit that there's a chance that I possibly have evidence to show that you do have something to do with that body, correct?
I don't know.
You don't know?
While outright denials can be confronted, "I don't know" is a much harder statement to confront. There's very little room to redirect this answer into another line of inquiry, as the follow-up questions would all tend to be answerable with yes,
Yeah, they
no,
can lie.
or I don't know.
Yeah, they can lie.
Because if I hadn't done anything, I'd say, nope, there's no way. But you say you don't know. Why is
don't
that?
kill someone.
Why do you say you don't know? Is there a chance that maybe something's there?
No.
Why did you say you don't know?
I liked it, Payne. It was a good game.
I don't know.
Because you're worried about something?
What up,
Maybe
forever?
something that happened, that maybe something got mixed up with something and you're worried about that?
No.
Then why do you say I don't know?
Because I don't know.
This guy's
would you
an
not know?
idiot. At what
Stephen
point in the
may be
procedure can
enjoying
someone
the
walk
fact
out?
that he's getting a
Depends
rise
on
out
if
of the
they're if they have
detectives.
enough to arrest you
It
or
may
not.
make him feel superior to see how frustrated they're getting while he's
Dude,
able
you're not
to
supposed to
remain
talk to a cop like this without a lawyer,
deadpan.
period.
I wanted to give you an opportunity to tell it. I wanted to be here with you to go through that process because I know you're not a monster, man. I know you're not a bad guy. You're just a hard-working student trying to pass a bar exam, ain't you?
Show me that scratch again that you showed me earlier. That was it a. What did you say happened there?
What's up, Major Harv?
Myself in my sleep.
Not anymore, forever.
Oh.
It's interesting that this question about the scratches on his torso is the one that sparks the most detailed response from him. Perhaps he's trying to deflect the officer's attention from the suspicious marks, because the scratches look like the kind left by fingernails. Though the detective says that Stephen showed him the scratches earlier, Stephen would later claim that he didn't consent to showing the officer anything, and that he'd lifted his shirt without permission.
You know what's crazy? I was talking to people that he works with and everything. They talk about how he's always expresses himself.
But he don't know.
He's very talkative. Stephen, they say you're so talkative, buddy, that you're always so friendly. You stop in and say hello, and you talk. Why is it that you're acting so short
Twitch
with us
John 3,
tonight?
thanks to follow, man.
If you have all this character and personality about you, why is it that everything that we get from you is yes, no, or I don't know?
I don't know.
If what the detectives are saying about him normally being friendly is true, then Stephen has been very careful not to give away anything verbal or nonverbal throughout this entire process. This must be using a lot of energy and effort on his part.
Trying to sound like Michael Jackson
The police
and
may
shit.
believe Stephen is guilty, but with little evidence at this point and no indication that he's going to crack anytime soon, the detective shows his true frustration.
Why are you lying, Stephen?
I'm not lying.
Yes, you are lying. How long do you continue to do it? She's got a mother and a father and a family out there that is sick over everything. Where's their little girl, Stephen?
I don't know.
Stephen, you know. Where?
I don't know.
Stephen. You're gonna look at this right here, this little girl right here, and you're gonna say you don't know? I know you know.
I don't know.
Yes, you know. What are you going to say tomorrow when I say we got your hair with the body? What are you going to say to me then? Because you know, like I go like that. Look at my hair. That's how easy it falls out. Look at all that on your head. You don't think nothing fell out? It did.
Ooh. Ouch.
It did, Stephen.
What's up, Mrs. Red Rain?
We just wanted to give you an opportunity to tell it, so you didn't look like a monster at the end. Because you know what? I don't believe that you're a monster, Stephen. I believe that you're a good guy. You've been picked on. Girls didn't show you the respect that you deserved. You did something stupid, and I believe you feel bad about it. And that's why you're all freaked out right now. But I'm giving you the opportunity to get right. I'm giving you an opportunity to show everybody you're not a monster, that you feel bad about what happened. Your hair's there, man. Your hair is there. We got your hair with the body. How's that, Stephen?
I don't know.
Yes, you do know.
I don't know.
Yes, you do know, Stephen.
When the detective claims that Stephen is a good guy who didn't get the respect he deserved from girls, this is part of the theme development phase of the Reed technique. The detective is trying to shift the blame away from Stephen onto an external reason: girls rejected him, so that it's easier for him to confess. Why? The question on everyone's mind, but the true horror of Lauren's fate wouldn't be revealed for months. Despite the detective's exhaustive efforts, non-stop questions, and over 12 hours of interrogation, Stephen didn't confess.
12 hours of this?
I did, buddy.
12 hours? Bro, ask for a lawyer, bro. What are you doing?
No, I didn't.
You did.
Why would you even sit there and do this for 12 hours, man?
Why won't you tell me, Stephen?
I didn't do
This
it.
dude would be a beast in this chat, not folding.
I'm gonna take this with me. You don't deserve to look at it. Just stay right here, okay?
Okay.
I appreciate all your cooperation.
Can he leave whenever he wants?
tonight,
I believe
okay?
in this interview he could have. I believe in the first one they didn't have enough, I don't think.
Stephen's lease on his apartment was up in 2 weeks.
I don't know,
He was
to be
just
100%
about to
though.
take the bar, become a lawyer, leave Macon and return home. But instead, he's arrested that night and taken to jail. Undoubtedly, his unsettling behavior during questioning helped to solidify the suspicion against him. But soon Stephen would offer an explanation. In fact, just like he explained away his choice to hang around the apartments while they were searched, he would soon offer up a series of claims. None of his allegations have ever been independently verified, nor were they caught on
What up,
camera.
Stevie R17?
So we can't comment on the validity of his accusations. In a written statement after his arrest, Stephen claimed that after the reporter told him about the discovery of Lauren's torso, he was on the verge of hyperventilating and lost consciousness. Stephen said that he was diagnosed by an emergency medical technician as having suffered a seizure. Instead of being taken to the hospital, Stephen explains he was removed from the EMT's care by the police and brought to the station for his second interview instead. There, Stephen claimed that he told the police he needed medical aid, but instead, when he tried to stand, was pushed back down by an officer, pinning him to the seat. He said that he was disoriented with severe head pain, had lost sensation in his extremities, could barely breathe, and was suffering from impaired vision. He went on to say that he was deprived of medical care and believed his life was in jeopardy from a medical emergency. This, Stephen explains, is why he was in an impaired state during the interrogation, and therefore was barely conscious and not in control of his words or actions.
Well, good luck having that one stand up in court.
It would put anything he said into question. Of course,
right,
Stephen would have had a lot
night.
of time between the interview and his later arrest to come up with a well-thought-out lie to explain his odd behavior. Still, it's important to note that Stephen's symptoms also sound like a panic attack. It would make sense that he was triggered by the discovery of his friend and neighbor's body.
Man, fuck that. Take your 200 bits and shove it up your fucking ass.
Innocence.
I want that blood money. It's literally my tax money being recycled into my bank account.
Panic when it was discovered, along with potential evidence. With this accusation in mind, it's impossible to know if his catatonic-like state was the result of a real medical emergency, or if it was an attempt to manipulate the
E-man, buy an
interrogation so he
ashtray.
didn't have to give any answers beyond yes, no, and I don't know. As a law student studying criminal law, Stephen would know just what kind of information the officers would be trying to pry out of him, and exactly how to avoid giving anything away. Within this statement, Stephen shows just how deeply he understands the law, writing that when police and prosecutors can only obtain evidence and convictions by violating people's rights and testifying falsely, and when courts ratify such misconduct by the refusal to exclude evidence when the testimony of police, true or false,
yeah, Dom, I got grinders and ashtrays on the site, boys. Buy them up. Buy some grinders and ashtrays.
System of criminal justice.
There it is, right there, guys. If you want to click on the link and support,
he ended the
it
statement
means a lot to me. I love you guys,
my
man.
words may go unheeded, but the truth in them will remain. Even
Yeah, I
if
shipped
no
to Canada.
one listens.
Yeah.
Who will guard the guards themselves? However, contradicting Stephen's allegations of being mistreated, an officer wrote in their own statement that though pale and zombie-like, he was offered food and water or anything else he needed, but he said no and mostly just stared into space. In this case, it appears to be his word against the officers. Soon after Stephen's arrest, troubling evidence was uncovered that solidified the police's suspicion. An ex-roommate of Stephen's during his undergrad came forward and told police that when he knew him, Stephen would often ask people how they would commit the perfect murder, starting all the way back in 2007. He would then share his own ideas on how to commit the perfect murder, including wearing shoes that were too small, cutting his hair, and using things such as chloroform to subdue a victim, specifically a female victim, and use chemicals to get rid of the smell of the body. He would then drag the body to a bathroom, since tile and linoleum was easy to clean, and cut up the body in the bathtub. Finally, he would place the body parts in black plastic bags, hide them among his laundry, and sneak them out of the apartment or house so he could distribute them over a large area. Remember these specific details and the fact that Stephen was discussing this 4 years before Lauren was killed.
Trails with the 5 gifted, my man.
Relevant later.
Let's go, baby.
Understandably, the roommate was a bit disturbed and would joke that he needed to lock his doors at night.
Thank you,
to
brother.
which
Thank
Stephen
you.
replied that it wouldn't matter since he would pick the lock, rush in, and chloroform him. People who knew him reported that he had a history of breaking and entering, including stealing small items from other people's rooms and apartments. If you recall, Lauren believed that someone had been in her apartment but didn't have any proof. She was likely right, but didn't know that it had probably been
4 years and fucked this up.
Another person who knew Stephen during his undergrad told the police about his plan to commit the perfect murder. He said that when he discussed it,
what up,
he
G-Smoke?
spoke with
Much
intense
love to you, bro.
passion, and added that Stephen would always say there were 2 ways to become famous: be a movie star or a murderer.
No,
Could
no,
this
not
be
at
the
all.
reason Stephen couldn't help himself and spoke
Like,
to
what?
the reporter,
That's your
knowing that he
brain
was the one
working?
who committed the crime? Had he been seeking fame
Yo,
for at
Trails, thanks
least
for 3
his
gifted,
15
man.
minutes? The fact that Stephen titled his plan The Perfect Murder is another indication of his grandiosity, along with his talk of fame, as it seems he had the desire to be known by others. People who are narcissistic and grandiose often have a very fragile sense of self and low self-esteem at their core. They compensate for this by adopting a totally opposite manner of
Taking my
interacting
vitamin.
in their environment. grandiosity, and narcissism. It's possible that Stephen always felt ignored or invisible to others. We know he was isolative, and he admitted to not having intimate relationships. It's possible that Stephen craved attention, and this, in combination with some likely built-up anger and frustration, led him to develop a desire for notoriety. In other words, he likely knew that being a movie star was not in the cards for him. We can tell by his poor performance in the interrogation room and when speaking to the news reporter. So Stephen may have decided that being a murderer was the option that could give him the attention he craved for so long. Stephen even expanded on these thoughts, stating to this person that all serial killers had full control over the situation and every person's life they touched. He believed that Stephen wanted total power over someone else, and that it was this want which fueled most of his actions. Often individuals with narcissistic traits feel a need to have control over others. They feel this is a defense against receiving a narcissistic injury or a wound to their ego if they're able to keep others under control. Since it appears Stephen didn't have romantic partners, this need may have been fulfilled with his sneaking around and observing Lauren or others.
I'm pausing this to try this with y'all. I've never tried this shit. Wait 1 sec. Overrated. This is their #1 selling flavor. Logan Paul KSI. Crypto Zoo. Oh, this is the energy drink. Tastes fucking good. Shit tastes good.
Without their knowing. Having
Just finish this video
is a common motivating factor among people with antisocial personality disorder. They derive pleasure from being in full control of people and situations
you don't like
because it
feeds
into their grandiose sense of self and narcissism. These people often fantasize about being great and powerful and will commit horrific actions to materialize this fantasy. Additionally,
200
since people with
milligrams of
antisocial
caffeine?
personality are
It's only got 10
spiteful and
calories.
vindictive,
Nice.
They will seek revenge.
Wow,
if they perceive
how did
that
they get it
someone
so
has
low
wronged them.
calorie?
Maybe Stephen resented Lauren because she wasn't interested in him romantically. Regardless, it's clear that murder is something that he had given a lot of thought for a long time. Murder could have been an escalation of his breaking and entering behavior. Perhaps his desire to kill was even part of the reason he enrolled in law school.
Buddy, thank you for 16 months, buddy.
Away with murder. Once again, Stephen's creepy posts online revealed just how much he'd been thinking about death. Not only was he making comments on message boards just 3 days before Lauren's torso was discovered, right around the time she was killed, but in discussions about survivalist shows, he talked about cannibalism. One post, he said, "If we have to resort to cannibalism, we'll do it in as orderly a fashion as can be done in those circumstances."
What?
Another read, "Yeah, cannibalism isn't a first resort. It's
Man, I'm really liking this energy drink. I'm really liking this prime energy.
And the only choices are starve or cannibalize. As for who, I would take the volunteer if there was one. If not, I'd take a look around, pick out the people who are least likely to survive much longer.
You think I got an ad? Are you kidding me?
Short straw dies. Everyone else lives. Supposedly, human flesh tastes most like ham."
I'm not writing Jake Paul.
He
It's
expanded
Logan
on
Paul.
these chilling thoughts, writing, "It seems the last few posts seem to have forgotten that the scenario
I'm
is
not
eat human or
Glazer Hall of
starve.
Fame.
You're bickering about the buildup of
Dude.
fat-soluble toxins and such, when you should only be asking yourself, would I eat another person in
Love the
order
new
to keep
YouTube video.
alive
Keep up the
because
grind.
no other source
Thanks,
of food
okay,
existed?
pro.
If you're too worried about getting a disease, then don't eat and starve to death. If you aren't that worried, then eat the dead body."
Austin's
His other
girlfriend Janelle
comments
is
about
running the YouTube channel.
Survivalist show also include a post
The
stating,
mango one's fire. I
"Despite
got the
how
mango one.
Discovery is portraying it, I'd rather have a global epidemic that wipes out most of humanity than some other disaster scenarios that exist." as well as disaster scenarios where Stephen wrote, "If you fall behind, you get left behind."
You like something
In a chat room discussing
blazing.
horror movies, he wrote, "Grotesque didn't make me cringe. It was just, driving nails through a man's testicles, cutting off a woman's nipples with a pair of scissors, severing fingers and making a necklace out of them. None of that does anything for me. It was fairly good imagery, but it failed to resonate with me. Yes, I can watch a man
Steph, can you
disemboweling
ban that
himself
guy?
by
Can you
crawling
ban
across
Mackie?
a room while his intestines are clamped to a hook and not feel even the slightest disgust.
Ban him.
I am that desensitized to gore and torture. It also appears that Stephen
Thank you,
often
Seb.
talked hypothetically about how he would try to get away with murder, not only to those who knew him, but online as well. In one post, he spoke about what he might do after committing the act. He claimed that he would sit on the ground and just rock back and forward on the ground, eyes wide and blank. He wrote, "I'd remain in this state for at least a day. No talking, no communication, blank, unfocused stares. I do not fall asleep either. Eventually, when some new stimulus is introduced, a family member I haven't seen, a picture of my brother or something like that, I shake my head from side to side.
Dude, the video's over in 10 minutes,
and look
man.
around in a panicked manner, asking where I am, what's going on, if my family is okay, why
James,
I'm there.
guys, it's over
And
in
when
10
they
minutes,
ask,
man.
I'd
Take
say
your
I
fucking
have no
Vicodin
memory of
or your
anything.
Adderall.
They'll
I
probably
meant your Ritalin.
initiate
Don't take
charges,
Vicodin.
At which point the
Fuck.
family will need to get a lawyer to argue that I
Drewski,
had
thank
no
you for 2
knowledge
months.
of
I
my
appreciate
actions
you.
and were not acting of my own volition when I acted. Keep the story consistent, and whenever I'm asked about what happened, I look down and put a
12-hour
sad look
react
on your
stream.
face, relating what I was told happened.
Just
as you have no
vid
memory
after
of it.
vid.
I might end up institutionalized for a while so they can try to figure out what caused the blackout. But if I stuck
I'm
to the
taking a
story,
dab break,
it's
man. I don't get
doubtful
high
I'd
off dabs
end up in
anymore. It's
prison.
not worth it again. I'm done.
He ends his
It's not
post
worth it.
with,
I'm done with dabs.
"Of course,
I'm
this
done
is
with
all
dabs for a week again.
hypothetical."
This doesn't do anything. I'm done with it.
Sounds unnervingly familiar.
My
doesn't
tolerance
it?
is too high, man.
With all of this in mind, it's apparent that he contemplated an insanity or lack of
I got some
capacity
flower
defense at
joints right
some
here.
point before Lauren's death. In law school, students learn about excuse and non-culpability
I think I'm just
defenses,
done with
and his
concentrates for a little bit. I'm
thought
just gonna do
pattern
flower for a
generally
little
follows
bit.
along the same lines as a Monotone defense. Under the Monotone rule is generally adopted in various forms by many states. To be
Dude,
found
Honey
not
G,
guilty
it's
by
so
reason
bullshit.
of insanity, the defendant must be laboring under such a defective reason from disease of the mind as to not know the nature and quality of the act he was doing. Or if he did know it, that he did not know what he was doing was wrong. Georgia has slightly modified the rule with the addition of a possible verdict of guilty but mentally ill. Stephen may have attempted to establish this sort of defense when he claimed his odd interrogation behavior was possibly related to a seizure. He did his best to push this narrative passively with his yes, no, I don't know answers and strange behaviors in interrogation. Still, most attorneys would understand
know
that
why
this
I
is not
can't.
enough to meet the burden of proof for insanity or defect of reason. It appears that when Stephen realized neither
Insanity
of these
defense
arguments would
doesn't
work,
mean
he then used
that you
the
walk.
statement to focus
It means you
on
go to a
trying to
mental
prove
hospital
Fourth
with a
and
chance of
Fifth Amendment
like, release later in life.
Steven.
And like, dude, some of those psych wards are disastrous.
The interrogators attempt to question Stephen, but he throws a wrench in their plans.
I have nothing to say without my attorney.
Wow, that's all you had to say.
You don't want to hear what we have.
I want my attorney.
Unlike the last time he was in front of the officers, Stephen invokes his right to an attorney, begging the question, why didn't he do this before?
Seriously.
It's impossible to know what he may have been thinking, but given his bold news appearance, maybe Stephen was so confident that he would never be caught. He truly believed he could beat the system. He may have actually requested a lawyer here because he was facing a bigger and much more real threat. In the first interviews, he likely felt relatively safe and therefore more confident in his abilities to defend himself. However, now he has just been arrested, so the stakes are higher. News sources would report that Stephen went to the police station voluntarily, but in a written statement, he claimed that he submitted to the demands of the police when it came to him staying at the station and showing the officer the scratches on his body, claiming that, quote, in neither instance was my consent a voluntary act. It was a submission to police coercion.
Looks like you've been putting on a little weight in there, man. Dude, I'm just talking casual, not about anything right now. You can feel free to talk. Want anything to drink or anything?
Even when the officer takes a more unique approach, talking about Stephen's beard that has been growing since he was arrested, he doesn't budge.
I wish I could let mine grow out, but they won't let me have one working here, man. Has it reached that point where it started?
Keithy, thank the 21 months. Drewski, the 2 months. Thank you guys, man.
Dude, if you don't feel comfortable with me talking.
Final Fortnite? Well, I'm doing Fortnite right now. But then I have we have a life coach at 10
Eventually,
p.m.
the police gave up and returned Stephen to his cell. At some point after his arrest, the police got a search warrant and took a sample of his hair, a buccal DNA swab, and fingernail scrapings from Stephen. This evidence would be used to seal his fate, but it wasn't the only evidence found, as much more disturbing things were soon discovered. During a more intensive search of Stephen's apartment, 2 keys were uncovered. Comparing one to Lauren's apartment key, it was found to be an identical match, meaning that Stephen had a key to her place without her knowledge. The second key was determined to be a master key for the entire apartment complex, which the apartment manager later identified as the one she thought she had lost 3 years earlier.
He held on to it for 3
but the keys
years.
weren't the only damning evidence.
He was probably going in and out of that house, too.
And soon investigators understood why he'd been so hesitant to let them in. They found a flash drive that belonged to Lauren, filled with hundreds of her photos, along with evidence that Stephen had been looking at her Facebook and LinkedIn pages. Beyond that, authorities uncovered a pair of Lauren's underwear in Stephen's apartment. As disturbing as all of this was,
Made in
it
Thailand?
was the discovery of a deleted video that really sealed his fate. Stephen had a wooden pole with a camera duct taped to one end. He used this contraption to record Lauren within her apartment from her window. The deleted video appeared to have been recorded the night she was murdered. In August 2011, after a month in jail, Stephen McDaniel was charged with the murder of Lauren Giddings. This wasn't the only thing Stephen was charged with, however. During their search, police found even more disturbing evidence on a flash drive belonging to Stephen. Sickening and inappropriate images of children. As well, in online posts, Stephen commented encouraging messages under fictional writing featuring inappropriate and disturbing acts with children. He was then charged with several counts of exploitation of children. As the evidence against him grew to the point where his silence and denials were no longer cutting it, Stephen decided to take a plea deal in 2014.
Just life without
a plea
parole.
which would allow him to avoid the death penalty and drop the charges of child exploitation. Required him to describe exactly what happened to Lauren on the night that she died. In a statement, he admitted that he had a master key to the apartment, but he didn't clarify when or how he stole it from the apartment manager. He used the key to get into Lauren's apartment around 4:30 a.m. on Sunday, June 26th. He was wearing gloves and a mask when he walked into her bedroom and stood over her as she slept. The floor creaked under him, and she woke up and saw him. He said that Lauren sat up and calmly told him to get the f*** out. Stephen leaped across the bed and grabbed her by the throat. She struggled to get away from him, even tumbling onto the ground together, but Stephen managed to keep his hands around her. Still, as she tried to get away, Lauren reached up and pulled off Stephen's mask. As he strangled her, she managed to say, "Stephen, please stop." But he continued to hold on to her for several minutes, maybe as long as 15 minutes, until Lauren finally stopped moving. He then dragged her body into the bathtub and left, going back to his own apartment. As though he hadn't just committed an unthinkably horrific act, Stephen
I'm not trying to have this be the debate here, but you're saying that that's why women should carry guns. I don't know if she has having a gun loaded right next to her bed could potentially maybe have stopped the crime. I mean, there's context in like how fast does she grab the gun? How fast does he sprint at her? Remember, there's also, it's not just, oh, here's somebody, let me shoot him real fast. Boom, boom. It's not like she's a trained Marine, right? There's human factors, there's shock, there's other things. I'm just saying it's not that black and white. It's just not that black and white. Especially if she's just waking up and sees a guy there, she's going to be confused. Like if she's like, her instinct is going to be like, I'm not saying, it's not an L take. I'm not saying she doesn't grab the gun and get the shot off. I'm just saying it's not a guarantee that that happens. You know what I'm saying? That's all I meant by that.
The next day in his apartment on the computer before going back to Lauren's with
she would have a better chance.
Around
yeah,
midnight.
obviously, yeah.
He began to dismember her, wrapping the body parts in black trash bags before discarding them in the Mercer Law School dumpsters
I agree,
while it was
Citrus.
still dark. Besides her torso, the rest of Lauren's
I'm saying, if you think about the motion of grabbing the gun would have to have no safety on, loaded, just ready to shoot. So if that's not the case, if she's sleeping and that gun isn't loaded with no safety on, I would say there's a 1% chance the gun does anything. The time it takes her to get the gun, the shock, it might be dark in the room because fucking whatever. But remember, she's a female, so she's way smaller than the guy. I just don't know if that's gonna do anything. I don't know. But I'm saying that's if the gun, if the gun's in a dresser, if the gun's in a drawer, that gives the guy way too much time in this circumstance. To me, in my opinion, you'd have to be. And if the safety's on, so at that point, think about the time it would take to lunge. You know what I'm saying? Always have my piece ready, but why? I'm saying this is unfortunately if you were a guy, you would not have been a victim of this guy. You know what I'm saying? So this is one of those things. If you were a guy and a victim of this crime, it would be just very different.
Remains have never been recovered. It's possible that when Lauren awoke and spotted Stephen in her room, he impulsively decided in that moment to kill her. That could explain why he then left and didn't come back until later to dismember the body.
Until I'm a victim of violent crime?
So right after he killed
All
her.
right, okay, but why would I be a victim of violent crime? I'm saying, dude, if I'm a regular citizen who lives in a decent area, the odds of me becoming a victim of violent crime is statistically low, whether you know it or not or believe it or not. So I'm saying that's not even. You know what I'm saying? It's to say I'm just living on high alert, you're getting ready to get into a shootout is also bizarre. You know what I mean? What? I've never ever growing up ever felt the need to have a weapon on me. Even on the west side of Chicago, I never felt the need to have a weapon on me. Because it's if they're gonna pull out a gun out on me, I'm going to if I'm getting a gun pulled out on me in some situation, I'm assuming I'm probably fucked. To think that I'm going to be in a situation where I just have a gun on me and I need to use it, the odds of that, a public shooting, you hear them on the news, but statistically, the odds are just low. So unless you're just going to bars on high alert or churches or anywhere where a public shooting can happen, just on high alert, ready to rock and cock. I mean, if you want to live that way, I'm choosing not to live that way. Me personally. But I'm saying if you want to do that, I'm not mad at you for doing that. I think it's a little weird, but I'm saying the context is different if you're a female getting off of work at 3 a.m, having to go through a sketchy parking garage or something you know what I'm saying, man? There's obviously different situations for everything, but I'm saying
Lauren waking and catching him may have unhinged this sense of control. As well, this sense of control may have already been unhinged by the fact that she was planning to move away so soon, which would bring an end to the relationship he may have felt they had. It doesn't seem like a coincidence that Lauren was killed just days before she was due to move. Along with this, there was one other thing that may have influenced the timing of the attack on Lauren. She had just sent her dog to live with her parents after graduation so that she could focus on studying for the bar. Stephen may not have wanted to break into her apartment if her dog was there, as barking would be a dead giveaway.
I'd rather have it and not need it over needing it and not having it. Okay, why do you? But I'm saying, but it's so then you're constantly on alert of being a victim of a violent crime. I don't know. To me, you're involved in criminal activity or you're doing something to really be worried about that, man. Why not? What do you mean? Why? Because why? What do you mean? But why? Sounds like a fun life, right? So growing up, I've never had this thought come into my head one time, and you're telling me you guys are just walking around with a gun on your waist all day waiting for smoke. you carry a gun on you. I mean, if you're a girl, I think it's a little different. If you're a female, I do believe it's a little different, especially if you maybe already been a victim and you have like PTSD. I would be willing to go that far. But it's like if you're a guy, even if you're a female, I'm trying to think about like the circumstance. I'm saying like to me, it's just like that just means you're just paranoid all the day. To me, that's what that says to me. I just feel like it's just like to me, like no matter what gender you are, like I just feel like you're just paranoid. Like I don't know, like it's either you're paranoid or you like have a job where you just like the percentages are shifting to where you need it much more than someone else. You're paranoid, not gonna lie. Hey, I mean, but the reality is, most people aren't Kelsey. Educated, smart with a gun, someone that you wouldn't care if she had a gun. That's not how a lot of the people that are walking around with guns are. Or maybe it is, I don't know. That's a bold statement, I don't know, I'll take that one back. But I'm saying like to me, like that's like, it's like, okay, well, like I'm kind of okay with this person, you're admitting you're paranoid, but like to me, I'd just rather not have everyone be paranoid with guns. Like I'd rather be in an area where we're paranoid without guns, where there's not any guns available, where we're all on edge, taking rails in a fucking bar and coming out paranoid. I don't know who's a cop, who's not, where are my ops? Do you see what I'm saying? Like I'm just like,
he may have felt more comfortable.
You have people to protect from what though? I'm not trying to do this. I'm not trying to do this argument right now. Protect from what though? Protect from what? What do you like, I'm saying like having a gun in your house, I'm not mad at you. I'm saying like, okay, I'm not mad at you if you have a gun in your house. To me, that's like, all right, you want a gun in your house, you want to protect your house. I'm fine with that. I don't care. But it's like, why you like to walk around with a gun though? Just like, so like you're going to McDonald's with a gun on your hip because you're just that one of a man? Because there's other people and shit we do that people would kill for? What do you mean? So do you live in, look, let me ask you a question. Do you live in a high crime neighborhood? Honest question. I'm not trolling you, I'm being serious. I'm saying, dude, I just like how people say, like, it's your right. Well, guess what, dude? America has more shootings and deaths than anywhere else. So, like, I just hate the whole, oh, it's my right. It's my right to read a piece of paper that's 300 years old. I don't give a shit. It's not my job to deal with society. The odds of me getting lit up in public, especially the bigger I get, I'm have security, and I stay inside all day, is low. So I'm not worried about any of that shit. I'm putting myself in minimal positions to even deal with that situation from happening. So I'm saying, like, to me, if you feel the need to walk around with a gun, I will take it to the grave that that's inherently not the right way to live, and there's just something more wrong on your end. To me, in like 99% of the circumstances, I would believe that. Like, I've never met a guy that's super, oh, I got a gun, and they're normal. They're usually fucking weird, 9 out of 10 times. Some of them are normal. Most are not. There's usually some weird tick about them that I can't really figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Explain how it's a liberal take. I don't even like using politics to describe my take and my opinion about this. To me, the video is basically over with.
Well, after the dog was gone. To complete his efforts to hide the evidence, Stephen cut up the mask, gloves, and shirt he was wearing and flushed them down the toilet in his apartment.
I wasn't even necessarily talking about gun control. I was talking about why do you feel the need to walk around with a gun?
Perfect murder. Well, not so perfect, actually, in the end. The cover of the hacksaw he used was found in his apartment, and the hacksaw itself was reportedly found in the maintenance room of the apartment building. Ironically, the officer...
Listen, man, this is not your stream. If I want to sit here and talk about politics and religion for the next 15 hours on multiple vitamins, then I'll do that. I'm not going to sit here and let your emotional connection to politics stop me from talking about what I want, man. Stop being that attached to it. At the end of the day, I can drop it and move on because I don't give a fuck and you're fucking weird for caring that much. I can have my opinion, then drop it and move on. Anytime someone says that, it's like, ooh, their tummies are bumbling. Please don't talk about my favorite president or my favorite law. It means so much to me. And I just don't want to hear it being regurgitated from this Fortnite guy or whatever the fuck. That's not happening. That is not fucking happening. I'm telling you, anytime you see a guy say not to talk about politics or religion, get that guy out of your life right away. I'm not saying like, okay, drop it at some point, obviously. But I'm saying, like, if you see a guy in a room that's going out of their way to kind of like, ooh, we're talking about politics or religion. This is, my receptors are lighting up somewhere in my brain. Get that guy out of your life immediately.
Police were able to enter the maintenance room using the master key they found in Stephen's apartment. The hacksaw still had both dried blood and tissue on it. It eventually matched
You
Lauren's
tell me I
DNA.
can't, you a bitch.
Stephen also made sure to note in his
I'm
statement.
saying, dude, like, dude, you guys are really making me go there with this, and I've been trying to drop it, but I'm just seeing a lot of just not shitty comments, just retard comments. They don't know any better. If you compare America to other countries, now listen to me here. Take this with whatever you want. There's not murders and crime happening everywhere. People walk around and don't even think about any of this shit you guys are talking about. So I'm just saying, don't make it sound like that your take is extremely logical and mine is illogical or vice versa when there's a lot of parts in the world that have no guns and function very well. So I'm just saying, and then they bring up knife violence. Like, you think this is the first time I've had this debate? Knife violence, great. So how many people are stabbed a year versus how many are shot? Why even strengthen my argument with that one? Why even give me the ammo to bring that up? Like, okay, great, guys. Okay, they have a knife. I'm going to close the door. Like, what?
Meant that he never assaulted Lauren, and that he still managed to attend his bar prep classes on the Tuesday and Wednesday after killing her. However, fellow law student David Whitmire contradicts this. There was a scheduled study group at the law college on Monday, June 27th, the day after Lauren was murdered, and Stephen missed it.
Was he even at class last week?
That's a good point.
Stabbings are much more brutal and vicious. Dude, what are you saying? You're not going to a club and worrying about some samurai throwing a knife across the club. Ah, shit. Damn, good knife throw. Let me throw my fucking boomerang back at him. What the fuck are you saying, man? I was in a 7-Eleven and this guy just started throwing Swiss Army knives at me. I'm saying, do you know how fast? Do you know the act of killing someone with a knife, what it would entail? I'm saying, so you're saying it would have to be in the private setting, away from anything or anyone. It could never happen in a public place, ever. So yes, I would much rather have there only be knives. Why would I? How is your brain correlating that to logic? I was at Dave & Buster's the other day, and I couldn't believe all the knives. There was 15 knives thrown everywhere. No one got hurt, but there was knives everywhere. One guy got a knife thrown in his neck, or he got a knife thrown in his thigh. He pulled it out. Oh yeah, 22 people got killed in a shooting in Florida. Okay. Man. Dude, those knife crimes are brutal, though.
Tell somebody, and they wouldn't listen to me, but he missed Monday.
Okay, and you know that for a fact because you were there.
Oh, absolutely. I know.
So he wasn't there Monday.
No, and he showed
English
back.
has stabbings every day. $109 murders. How many people are in London? There's 109 murders last year. In a population of just under 9 fucking million people. They almost got to double-digit murders with 9 million people. That's just in London. So there you go, guys. That is really, really low crime. That's very, very low. Extremely, extremely low. All right, I've had enough of that video. That's not that much. That's virtually crime-free. That's not even including the metro area, which probably has barely any more as well. Jamie, you good? Yeah, not bad. Oh, that's all. I was wondering if you were dying. I thought somebody broke into our house and threw a knife at you. All right. Sarobi, where you been at, man? Yo, TTV Bone Killer. Boing, Jamie. Of course, I gotta reset my PC. White dick, white dick, white dicks, white dicks. Fuck, man. Audio's desynced. Do a Larry Bird? What? Do this, do it. Like, what does that even mean, man? What's up, Mr. Hashtag? Sarobi, where'd you go, bro? New camp? Yeah. Yo, chat, when you hear some of these Fortnite guys in my Phil games, do you know people that are like this? I was talking to like a couple people off stream about it. I'm saying it genuinely, like those Phil games are genuinely entertaining to hear some of this shit. I'm just saying, like, how are you telling me that you're okay with giving your wife half your income, not seeing your kid, not doing anything about it, not taking any control over your life at all, not wanting to take any control over your life? And now it almost seems like I almost feel like I'm a dick, kind of like poking and prodding him. But I mean, it's like, come on, baby, get motivated. Just got no life in your voice, grinding Fortnite at fucking 2:13 in the morning for literally no fucking reason. God damn it, do better, man. I'm not saying it to hurt his feelings. I'm saying it to inspire him, dude. It's like you sit at home doing a goofy all fucking day. I felt bad for the guy. I mean, I genuinely did say I wish the guy the best. I wish there was more I could say and do for him, man. Okay, Minnie White. Alright, you're wild for that one. Yeah, this shirt does go hard as fuck. Anyone that says it doesn't, you're just stupid and you don't like badass superheroes that look dank as fuck. Yeah, that's a good point, Jeremy. I don't know. I feel like Valorant is like either super the top, over the top toxicity, Counter-Strike, like they just get on there to either talk shit or like they're gonna always like project. And that happens sometimes in Fortnite. But in Fortnite, it's just a lot of lost people. Like, I can't explain it because I've played a lot of other games, but it's like, it's almost like this soulless graveyard. Well, I can't explain it, man. I've been in gaming on and off my whole life. I've never seen a game like Fortnite where it just fucks people up. Like, the guys on Counter-Strike and Valorant were fuck-up assholes before that. I feel that Fortnite brought some of these guys to this place, or it's like not a good thing. It's not a good recipe for them. L sperm chat? I can't afford to go to Disneyland? The fuck? You're not even allowed to go into Disneyland, motherfucker. Dead by Daylight? GTA Online is the most delusional assholes? No, GTA Online, those guys are playing like a role over there, even on online. I stand by Fortnite's the most delusional. Dude, no. They're delusional in this game, man. No. I'm sorry, dude. I gotta put my foot down. Them dudes are absolutely lost. Just complete retardation. Let's get the stream going, baby. We got the life coach in about 2 hours. Let's go. I can't wait. Leave the light on, Nate. Leave the light on the door open, bro. Because I broke the other light and it fucks up the camera. Thanks, bro.
Are you done with this?
No.
So you just keep saying that, but you're not.
No, I'm about to blaze a cig. Wait, do you have the regular lighter? You give me the regular lighter. I don't even need the torch. Yeah. Thanks, brother. I love Nate, dude. Dude, Nate, would you have gay sex with me for $1 billion? Like, honest to God, if I could somehow broker that, would you do it? If I let you ram me, we split it 60-40. Obviously, I'm getting the 60 for taking the dick in the ass.